Imagine a father going to work one day and being told, "We can't pay you unless you have the mark of the beast."
"I'm sorry, we will not be able to pay you unless you take the mark."
Imagine a mother who's just given birth being told, "You can't pay for your baby's formula milk unless you've got the mark."
You can't pay for your baby's formula milk unless you've got the mark.
In this video, I want to show you that there will be more people that will accept the mark of the beast than those who reject it. Everyone likes to think that if they were given the choice to pledge allegiance to the Antichrist or to reject him and lose their life, a lot of people are biased in their thinking and assume they would refuse the mark of the beast. But what happens when the Antichrist comes up with a system whereby you can't own a house without the mark? You can't go to the supermarket and buy anything unless you've got the mark. You can't travel in a car or on public transport without the mark. This is when people will feel the pressure to pledge allegiance to the man of sin. But before we dive in any further, I want to begin by reminding you of two Bible verses that underpin everything I'm going to say today. The first is Matthew 7, verse 13 to 14, which says, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." Note how the Bible says many enter through the broad road, meaning the majority will choose the broad road. And the second Bible verse is Matthew 7, verse 21 to 23, which says, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, 'Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, and done many wonders in your name?' And then I will declare to them, 'I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness.'" Note how the Bible says many, once again meaning the majority will say, "Lord, Lord, I never knew you. Depart from me." So twice in the Bible, we are told that the majority will either choose evil or end up in eternal damnation. And so with this understanding, let's talk about the mark of the beast. According to the Bible, there will come a time when the Antichrist will establish a global regime that will enforce a system whereby everyone, small or great, the rich and the poor, the free men and the slaves, everyone will be given a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, signifying allegiance to the beast. And without this mark on your forehead or right hand, no one will be able to buy or sell. This mark will be the name of the beast or the number of its name. We don't know whether the mark will be a physical chip that can be implanted just under the skin. We don't know whether it's something digital. We don't know whether the mark will be a barcode that people will have to accept. But what we do know is that a lot of people will certainly accept the mark. And the simple reason for this is that the Antichrist will make it so difficult to live life without the mark. Imagine these scenarios. All of the major institutions in the world, banks and hospitals, for example, imagine if they say that you need the mark in order to pay your medical bills, or
like they did the pandemic with the experiment and told you if you didn't take it, you was going to lose your job. It was a test run. And a whole lot of niggas bowed down to it. That's why I said a lot of people out here losing their minds. So the people that lined up and took that experiment for that jab, they'll be the ones that take this experiment here. The mark of the beast. They already prepped for it. Let's go.
To perform any banking transactions. Imagine if you are told that you can only make your mortgage payments, your rent payments, if you have the mark. What would you do? Just imagine the pressure for you to do.
What most of them niggas do, I can show you better than I can tell you.
North
North Philadelphia, the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium held a free testing clinic. Eyewitness News at Miller Memorial Baptist Church, where healthcare professionals provided testing for people with virus symptoms. According to city officials, African Americans are being diagnosed and coming down with the virus at a disproportionately higher rate than other groups.
Wow.
The Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium is hoping to change that. They're raising money to help them test more people. We have a link to their GoFundMe at cbsphilly.com.
Remember this he, she, that they propped up on the pedestal that was out there selling their own peoples out, or he was selling his own peoples out, this strong jaw motherfucker. Y'all remember?
Surprised by the lack of response so far in the black and brown neighborhoods.
I'm disappointed. I didn't want to be a part of another meeting. I wanted to go out and do something.
And Dr. Ayla Stanford has been busy since. More than 2 weeks ago, she stepped up to provide coronavirus testing for Philly's predominantly black neighborhoods.
Being a physician scientist, I know that if you want to move the needle and affect change in those communities, you have to go where people are.
Now this Philly native is making national headlines, forming the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium, working in a city where the virus's death rate is 54% among African Americans. We've seen them test at local churches like Enon Tabernacle Baptist.
Always experimenting on niggas, man. That's crazy, man. I guess they don't even, well, they do experiment on mice, rats, monkeys, and dogs. But shit, they done took it to a whole nother level and shit. Experimenting on fucking black African Americans and shit. Being sold out by their own peoples. Once again, prepping you for the mark of the beast.
Where they helped prominent pastor Alan Wall learn he was positive.
Look at this lying-ass pastor and shit. You was positive because they put it up in you. You idiot. They got to put the virus in you to counter it, right? That's how you called it, you fucking idiot.
Going by the guidelines of exposed or symptoms, I would not have been tested.
Dr. Stanford's movement started with a few phone calls to friends and her own money. When you are at these churches and you see the line.
House niggas doing what they do, selling their own peoples out to take an experiment. In the same way they was out pushing this experiment on their peoples, they ain't do that to them illegal migrants.
Lines wrapped around the church. You speak to someone and they say, "Thank you." What does that mean to you?
It warms my heart.
As of Monday, the consortium has raised $100,000, money that provides for more tests. What do you need from the city of Philadelphia? What do you need from the state of Pennsylvania?
Support.
The consortium will be in South Philly Tuesday. Dr. Stanford says they'll continue working until the cases and deaths fall and the hospitals are no longer in crisis mode. Brandon Hudson, NBC 10 News.
For you to do your household shopping, to buy food, or to get any of the necessities of life, before you can buy anything, you'll have to display a specific mark so that the people that do not submit to the Antichrist will, in a certain sense, be isolated. And verse 4 says, "And I saw thrones, and they sat on them, and judgment was committed to them. Then I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded for their witness to Jesus and for the word of God, who had not worshipped the beast or his image, and had not received his mark on their foreheads or on their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years." There is a price to pay for those who refuse the mark of the beast. And for many people, that price will simply be too great for them, and they will choose the mark of the beast, all so that they can go back to the comfort of their daily lives. And so here are some key takeaways for you regarding the Antichrist. He is a man that will have deceptive charisma. Imagine a charismatic leader who captivates crowds with eloquence and charm on the surface. But make no mistake about it, he is driven and motivated by a devilish and demonic force. In 1 John 2, verse 18, the Apostle John speaks of antichrists who come with deception. Just as charismatic leaders can sway public opinion, the Antichrist will likely possess a magnetic charm, making him appealing to many. Just look at some of the worst dictators the world has ever seen. History has shown us leaders who, through charisma and charm, gained immense influence and led people down destructive
Who
paths.
that Hitler?
Second,
Who that Hitler? Who worked alongside of Hitler? Let's go see who worked alongside of Hitler, who's running the Democratic Party. Hold on. Who that, ladies and gentlemen? Who that? George Soros? Working alongside of who? Hitler. Who's that, ladies and gentlemen? George Soros. Who worked alongside of Hitler. I want y'all to pay attention to this background, because we're going to get into another video. Whereas though they trying to usher out that mark of the beast. And this dude got a whole lot to do with it, ladies and gentlemen. This guy right here, this character, George Soros, got a whole lot to do with it. Understand me? Him, Bill Gates, a bunch of them cronies, man. That motherfucker, man. Just remember that background, all right? World Economic Forum, right? Remember that, you know? Very important to remember that.
1 mail over from center to 90, mileage 93.
Visit that real quick. Need my peoples to see this shit. That's the picture I want right there. All them motherfuckers in the bed with him, right there. Yeah. All the people that's in the bed with this devil, y'all. That's all on board of their agenda. Y'all getting this live and direct. Look, your own peoples, Maxine Waters, Obama, they got a plan, y'all. I'm telling you, they had a plan like a motherfucker. That shit got erupted, though. Donald Trump came in and said, no, sir. All these motherfuckers right here, though. Let's get a look at that. Hold on. Here we are here, y'all. Look at this. Who's in the bed with these motherfuckers, y'all? Look. Obama. All these motherfuckers that's going against Trump. I did this video. And these are the same people that's going to sell y'all out. Take that mark of the beast. Buttigieg faggot ass. Told you they part of this LGBT mook shit going on, y'all. Look at that. All them motherfuckers, look. House niggas. Selling niggas out. Just wanted to do this video to show y'all the hypocrisy and the motherfuckers that's looking to sell y'all out to take that mark of the beast. They even had the Pope at the White House. That's why he met his demise so goddamn early, man. Let me pull that up. I told y'all that's why this old bastard met his demise so goddamn soon. Look at this house nigga right here. Look. Look at that. Your boy, y'all just elected in New York. Look. In the bed too. Look at the Pope. The Pope got caught with his hands in the cookie jar. He got caught with his hands in the cookie jar right there. And all them devils. Look at that. Devils. He met his demise fast, swift. He met his demise swiftly. God damn it, swiftly. But all these devils got a plan, y'all. All these devils got a plan with the help of these niggas. These old house niggas.
One of the worst dictators the world has ever seen. History has shown us leaders who, through charisma and charm, gained immense influence and led people down destructive paths. Secondly, when you are talking about the Antichrist, you are talking about the spirit of deception. Think of a master illusionist who can make the impossible seem real. In 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 9 to 10, Antichrists counterfeit miracles, signs, and wonders used to deceive. Just as illusionists create convincing illusions, the Antichrist will use deception on a grand scale, including signs and wonders, to mislead people. Magicians and illusionists can create astonishing feats that appear supernatural, much like the deceptive signs and wonders associated with the Antichrist. The Antichrist will be just what his name says, Antichrist. He will be in serious, aggressive opposition to Jesus Christ. The term Antichrist signifies one who opposes Christ. In 1 John 2, verse 22, it is written, "Who is the liar? It is whoever denies that Jesus is the Christ. Such a person is the Antichrist, denying the Father and the Son." The Antichrist will actively oppose and deny the divinity of Jesus Christ. But my final point is that the Antichrist will be ultimately defeated. Imagine a conqueror who was...
That's how the Pope met his demise so soon. And this Pope, this new Pope we got, will meet his demise soon too.
eventually defeated and overthrown. In Revelation 19, verse 20, we read of the Antichrist's ultimate fate. But the beast was captured, and with it the false prophet who had performed the signs on its behalf. With these signs, he had deluded those who would receive the mark of the beast and worshipped its image. The Antichrist may have a season of apparent success, but his ultimate destiny is defeat and judgment. We live in a world whereby virtually everything is being watched. What you do online is being watched. Wherever you go, you're being watched. Where you spend your money, that's being watched. How fast you drive, That's being watched. There are cameras everywhere. Cameras that have facial recognition and can identify a person based on their biometric data. This is the world we live in.
Wow.
But on a deeper level, we are all being watched, and our audience is in heaven. Hebrews 12 verse 1 tells us that, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Did you get that? We are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. We have an audience in heaven watching us, watching what we do and what we don't do. They are watching where we go and where we don't go, how we use our time and what we do with our time. So now I'd like to tell you about the third group that is watching us. The first is this physical world. The second is the audience in heaven, and the third is the underworld, the kingdom of darkness. Oh, if you didn't know, they are watching you too. The devil and his kingdom is watching us. Their intentions are evil. Their motives are to destroy. In fact, when you deconstruct 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8, you will come to understand that we really are being watched, because the Bible says, be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Other translations say he is looking for whom to devour. This means that we have eyes on us, eyes from the enemy. Now let me tell you the devil's strategy and what he does as he looks for someone to devour. He's looking to see if you earnestly believe what you say you believe in. He's looking to see whether you have a prayer life that's consistent. He's looking to see if the Word of God is really in your heart. He's looking to see if you are who you say you are. If you say you're a child of God, believe me, the devil will look at you. He will watch and study you to see whether or not you actually live like a Christ follower. Do you remember what the devil said when he approached God about Job? Job chapter 1 verse 9 and 10 says, Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Does Job fear God for no reason? Have you not put a hedge around him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. How did the devil know that there was a hedge of protection around Job and his house and on all that he had? The devil was watching him. And in the same way that this world is watching what you do, where you browse, what you tweet and say, in the same way that cameras watch you, the enemy is running surveillance on us. I want you to notice how someone who has a weakness for a certain thing or a certain sin, the devil will never offer an alternative. No. The devil will offer an alcoholic alcohol. He will plant thoughts in their mind about alcohol. He will introduce them to people or so-called friends who will enable them to drink. The devil will focus on that one weakness but have various schemes to target an individual. In the same way, you will never find the devil to entice an adulterer or a fornicator with other sins like stealing or gossiping. No. The devil watches what you do in private, what you tolerate in private, what you entertain in private, and he will offer you just that. So we need to be careful. We need to be prayerful. This is why 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8 says, Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. In other words, be alert, be watchful, be well-balanced, be self-disciplined, and be cautious at all times. Why? Because the devil is looking. This is the most important set of eyes on you. Jesus Christ. Let me read you a couple of scriptures that you should hold closely to your heart. Luke chapter 8 verse 17 says, For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. We need to really grasp what the Bible is saying here, because when it comes to the eyes of the Lord, nothing is hidden. Nothing is done in secret. Nothing is done in the dark. He sees it all. When you're behind closed doors, God sees everything. Maybe your wife doesn't. Maybe your parents don't. You may hide it well from your kids, but it's never hidden from God. Revelation 20, verse 12. And I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and books were opened. Then another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged by what was written in the books, according to what they had done. Books were opened. There are books that I believe will contain our every deed, every thought and action. And unless we repent of all sinful ways, there will be a day where you and I will have to answer for our actions. The Bible tells us that we will be judged by what is written in the books and according to what we have done. So remember, the world is watching you. The enemy and his kingdom of darkness is watching you. But pay no mind to both of these groups, because you need to only be concerned with Jesus Christ. He is watching you. So make sure he sees a believer who is obedient. Make sure that when the Lord looks at you, he sees someone who is dedicated and committed to the kingdom of God. Make sure that when the eyes of the Lord look at you, they see no bitterness, no unforgiveness, no malice or sexual immorality. Make sure that when they look at your heart, they see no pride, no jealousy or envy. But may they see a heart that has been transformed and renewed by the Holy Spirit.
On this video, I'm going to share some vital good information from Melanie King channel. Y'all get over there and sub the Melanie King channel. We're going to get into it.
So let's take a look.
For anyone who's ever left the house without their wallet, fumbled for their ID at airport security, or wished government services were just a little more modern, today changes everything. Starting tomorrow, for the first time ever, Illinoisans will be able to add their driver's license or state ID directly to their Apple Wallet. And this is just the beginning, the first step in bringing mobile IDs to the state of Illinois. That means that your ID now lives securely in the same place that you already tap to pay for groceries, present a boarding pass for a flight, or enter a concert, all protected by the same cutting-edge privacy and encryption technology that you trust every day on the devices that you already love. This is government innovation at its best, modern, secure, and designed for you. For anyone who's ever left the house without their wallet, fumbled for their ID at airport security, or wished government services were just a little more modern, today changes everything.
Whenever the government does something because they say because it's going to bring peace or security or safety, or it's going to make life more convenient for us, you need to be terrified. Okay, because that is how they usher things in. My comfort is going to be convenient. I always leave my wallet. I always forget my ID. So this is something that I would normally do. But let me walk you through the details. Now, it is really important that you listen to the details that are spoken about in this. But I have even more. Okay, and then you're going to understand. You may just say it's no big deal. I add my driver's license to my wallet. That's not the true digital ID. Understand what this is laying the groundwork for, and it is happening at a breakneck pace. All while they're building the Stargate AI and spending. Last time I checked, it was $2.5 trillion in just a couple of months. I know that number has gone up. I'm going to be doing another video about Stargate, Project Stargate. These these trillion-dollar data AI data centers that no one asked for, that we don't really need, but you have to wonder, why do they need all this power? Why do they need this much AI? And again, I've walked people through this on my live stream, so if you haven't checked those out, you need to. But let's get into this some more.
What was your thinking about the 50 and 5 plan?
So the UN has partnered with Bill Gates on this, what they call digital public infrastructure. It's a very fancy term. And I think the simplest way to understand it is they're building a giant digital gulag for all of humanity. So the UN Development Program has officially launched this. It was officially launched at the end of last year, where they're going to get 50 governments, they call them countries, but really they mean governments, to impose at least some major element of this digital public infrastructure on their population within 5 years. So 2028.
Passports.
Digital IDs, and those are already emerging. In fact, many states are developing these. I just went through the airport yesterday. You can scan your digital ID QR code, right? So that's happening.
And that's really one of the main reasons for the COVID
absolutely
nonsense.
The architecture that was laid down is the backbone.
It's right. COVID nonsense. And that's just what it was. Nonsense.
Of this global control grid that they're building. So then you've got the central bank digital currencies, which are already being unveiled. They've already been released. The World Economic Forum just said a few days ago, 98% of the governments, the central banks in the world are working on these CBDCs. Once they're fully operational, I guarantee you, they're going to start waging war on cash much more openly. They'll say it's a tool for terrorists and pimps and every nasty thing, tax cheats, everything you can think of. Then you've got the payment processing systems, and you've also got, we just had the head of the World Health Organization talk about this recently, the digital health certificates, the digital vaccine passports. They're taking what the EU developed during the COVID, which, by the way, the European Commission was promoting vaccine passport.
COVID was a test run for this right here. They about to roll out on the peoples. And once again, they had them niggas out that bitch selling niggas out like a motherfucker, man. Sad, man. At that point, you need to go to the vax and do a Bin Laden to all the motherfucking buildings and shit.
Passports in May of 2019, long before anybody ever heard of COVID or anything like that. So they're taking all of this together. And they are using it to build a control system that will not just be able to surveil and monitor everything you do on an unprecedented scale. When you combine it with AI, the ability to make sense of all this data, it's just mind-blowing. But also to manipulate what you do. And so they're talking about this again pretty openly. If you look at the World Economic Forum meetings, they talk about the benefits of programmable.
World Economic Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, I told y'all pay attention to that background, all right? Let's go.
Central bank digital currency, where they will be able to say who can buy what, when, under what conditions, and then the Bank for International Settlements. Carol Quigley, to go back to him.
What that sound like, y'all? Did that sound like the mark of the beast? Let's bring that back. Hold on.
Mind-blowing. But also to manipulate. It's just mind-blowing. But also to manipulate what you do. And so they're talking about this again pretty openly. If you look at the World Economic Forum meetings, they talk about the benefits of programmable central bank digital currency, where they will be able to say who can buy what, when, under what conditions, and then the Bank for International.
Now, what did that sound like, ladies and gentlemen? Did that sound like the mark of the beast in the video that we just did before this one?
Bank digital currency, where they will be able to say who can buy what, when, under who can buy what, who when, under what, who can buy what, when, under what who can buy what, when, under what conditions, who can buy what, when, under what conditions, and then the Bank for International Settlements. Carol Quigley, to go back to him for a moment. Bill Clinton's mentor, the guy who really exposed this global agenda to create a one world system. He said the apex of the system was going to be the Bank for International Settlements. This is an institution that's almost entirely unknown to Americans. And what they are working on right now, and this is not a secret, it's not a conspiracy because it's not happening behind closed doors, is what they call a universal blockchain ledger. They want to tokenize every asset in the known universe, every farm, every car, every house, every tree, put it on this ledger, this blockchain ledger, and then you're only able to interact with this blockchain ledger using your biometric digital ID, using your central bank digital currencies. So if I want to buy something from you.
That's the mark of the beast. God damn it.
I can't just hand you a $100 bill. I've got to go on my device, connect to this blockchain system, transfer the central bank digital currencies to you. And so this is a mechanism for controlling humanity that I think is really unprecedented in human history. And when you take it all together, it's very obvious.
See, now you heard that.
Motor M3.
It's very obvious, but I'm going to continue to walk you down this road. Let me put this in here so you guys can see it. Yeah, you guys can see it. Cash purchases becoming illegal. Now, get this, guys. Now, she's going to be talking about the EU, but understand, we're part of this, okay? We are part of this. They are doing this, the same thing here. And I'm going to continue to show you evidence of this. This is a fact. This isn't debatable. This isn't something, oh, that can't happen in America. We're part of it. We're funding it. We're in agreement with them.
That's a fact, sis. The same way they pushed out that experiment on the whole world. They made the whole world line up and take an experiment because they was running the test before they roll this shit out. The mark of the beast. You on one, sis. You most definitely on one.
From the world, the WEF, okay? We've given them what we've been able to find so far is over $100 million just to implement the digital IDs, to be part of their whole digital ID scheme, as well as when they talked about the central banking language, which they're all getting into the same central banking language. They'll say, no, we're going to fight against a central bank or a digital currency, but they've already laid the groundwork for it, and this is it. It's here. Okay, there's no more time to waste. If you are not paying attention to this, you must. I am telling you, you must.
If you ain't paying attention, you'll be a victim of circumstances, just like that experiment. 19, goddamn it.
It is that important. It is the most important thing going on. The most important thing.
Facts.
Disappear. Cash is about to completely disappear in 847 days as the EU have just passed new legislation into law that prohibits financial freedom. Starting 2027, you will not be able to make any cash purchases over 10,000 euros. This becomes illegal. Also starting in 2027, which actually has already kind of started now, is every single European exchange will have to have KYC. You will no longer be able to have any self-hosted wallets or anonymous wallets. When it comes to transacting cryptocurrency, anything over 1,000 euros will have to be state approved. If it's not, you could be prosecuted, and all of those transactions are tracked and traced. The digital euro, also known as a central bank digital currency, will be officially introduced in 2029. And all of this infrastructure being put into place now is to facilitate the new CBDC. Everything analysed, everything tracked, everything traced. This is not just proposed or a theory, this is now law. So you have 847 days in the EU until cash becomes contraband, and 1,308 days until a central bank digital currency is introduced. Are you prepared? I've been talking about this exact topic for over 3 years now, and back then, nobody believed me. If you guys want more updates, information on this new monetary system, make sure you follow me down below.
So you heard her there. And again, I keep telling you guys, you can't just look at what's going on today. You can't just look at what's happening in the U.S. and America. You need to see what is happening on a global scale, and it is terrifying. It is terrifying. And all of this is converging at the same time. When Keir Starmer, the same month that Keir Starmer let UK citizens know that they are required, it is mandatory to have a digital ID and that they will not be allowed to work if they don't have it. When he made that announcement, that same month, Trump was standing up with him hand in hand, talking about this globalist system that's going to be brought in. A lot of people missed it. I played it on my live stream. But this is why you have to look at the details. And then you have to go back and see all the things that they said. Like, a lot of people dismiss, say they can't happen here. It's never going to happen. I'm telling you, it is. It is. These are the things that they are implementing and that they want to implement. And you may say, well, what's the big deal if we have digital ID? Well, let me show you something. And then I gotta play some really important stuff for you. So you're going to want to hold on for this. So this, if you have not seen this yet, I have talked about it, like I said before, but this is the WEF's digital ID plan from their website. The goal is to bring a situation where every aspect of daily life, healthcare, banking, food, travel, internet, social media, communications, energy usage, etc., requires a valid digital ID, without which you are locked out. And that's going to lead to the social currency. Not social currency, I guess it is social currency. I guess you could say social currency, where you're going to lose points. And this is happening in mass scales. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions at this point in China are facing these effects. They've implemented most of this in China. And now people who are good, hardworking people, haven't committed crimes, living their lives like you and I, but because they lost their social currency, meaning they didn't abide by certain things. They spoke out about the government. They didn't get their vaccination. They didn't do, they don't like how they're spending things. They have too big of a carbon footprint. Well, digital ID will be tracking that, and you can be cut off from society. But it gets worse. But just to give you an idea, it's kind of small, so you're not going to be able to see it as well. But meaning healthcare, meaning you won't get any medical services. You won't be able to get medical insurance at all. Financial services, you won't be able to bank, period. All right. And not only that, in countries right now, I'll highlight Vietnam, who have implemented this as well. They have confiscated. They claim 100 million bank accounts. This is happening all over. 100 million bank accounts because people did not comply with digital ID. All right. Food and sustainability. You won't be able to.
The same way they did with that experiment 19. That was a practice one. To see how many people fall in line with that fuck shit. And how many people fall in line with it, y'all. Then they turned around and did what, y'all? And said what, y'all? That the African-American community was the vulnerable out of all of the other races out there of catching the experiment that they put in people. That's crazy, right? Y'all gotta pay attention, y'all. Y'all not paying attention, man. Y'all ain't grabbed the goddamn lesson. Y'all ain't grabbed the lesson. You've been hoodwinked, led astray by the people you trusted. And behind closed doors, they're going to roll us out on y'all. The mark of the beast. God damn it.
To shop, buy or sell anything. The Bible talks about that. No man shall be able to buy or sell anything unless he takes the mark. Because if you do not understand, this is the groundwork for the beast system. I don't care what anyone has to say. I have been studying this like crazy. Facts. And when you put it together with Three-Eye Atlas, the building of the third temple in Jerusalem, oh, guys, it's all converging. It's all converging. Travel and mobility. You won't be able to buy a car, get car insurance. Anything related with travel, let alone fly. Of course, we know that. You won't be able to register your car without digital ID. The list goes on and on. Humanitarian response. I'm still trying to get clarification on this, but it's like, will they not help you?
They're going to force the mark on you, basically. Like they did the jab 19, they're going to force it on you. And all the things you can't do if you don't have it. That's crazy, right? But it's the mark of the beast. It's in the scriptures, Revelations. They the times we living in right now.
You like FEMA or something, we already know they barely help, but you won't be able to get humanitarian response when you need it. You won't be able to get SNAP benefits or welfare if you're down, if your family is in need. We already know that they're illegals are the main people on our welfare system, especially SNAP, but you won't be able to get that without digital ID. Okay. E-commerce. You won't be able to shop or buy anything online. You won't be able to buy anything anywhere, but online you have to present a digital ID in order to make purchases. Social platforms. You will no longer be able to have any social media accounts. E-government. That means you cannot. We already talked about not being able to get welfare or SNAP, but you will not be able to even file taxes. You won't be able to pay your property taxes. This is how they're going to confiscate your businesses. This is how they're going to confiscate your homes. This is all part of it. They've laid it out, and they're not ashamed about it. They're proud of it. This is from their website, guys. And this is the pretty part. This isn't even the fine print that we have to go through sometimes. They're advertising this as though this is.
I did a little research. You know what I mean? She led the horse to the water. She can't force the horse to drink the water. So it's for me to get out there and grab that research. Let's see what the Queen talking about. Let's see what the Queen talking about. Ensuring everyone has a legal, including birth registration by 2030. One of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The World Banks to launch its identification for development. I'm gonna tell you about that background, y'all. Ain't that background inside the other video we did about the mark of the beast? They was gonna send a motherfucker up there like that, look just like that, talk that bullshit, gaslight the peoples. There you go, right there. That's why I said people will lead you in a direction, but it's for you to do that research. So since we're here, we're gonna do the research together, all right? To back up what Sis was talking about in real time. See? Yeah. That's what Sis was talking about. That's what she was chatting about. Get a picture. Wow. Why your digital ID matters. Tech was recently signed off on a project that will help 2 million people. It's also working in financials on projects in Uganda, Nigeria, and the Southeast Asia. Look, y'all, and we see what's going on over there, y'all. The freak, man. Wow, this shit is real. That's it. Yeah. Y'all go and get this research. And where, what I tell y'all, in the background, y'all, was y'all paying attention? Was you paying attention? Wow. Wow, the mark of the beast. That's what's happening, huh? The mark of the beast. They trying to roll that out, and that experiment that they rolled out on the peoples was a test run. Wow. This ain't like devil activity. I can't tell y'all what it is, man. And they said you couldn't. They had the place on lockdown. You couldn't buy shit. Motherfuckers couldn't leave the crib. It was a test run right in our face. Wow. Wow. I love my YouTube family out there. They got that eye wide open. You heard? Now we see what the big fight is over Trump. Because Trump like, oh, nah, fuck this shit. This shit is a hoax, y'all. Don't get caught up in this bullshit. These people trying to have you go against the Most High word in everything they do. Like I've been saying in every video. The Democrats go against everything the Most High say don't do. Now they want to mark you up with the mark of the beast. After they did a practice run with the experiment 19. Wow. God damn it.
To go through sometimes. They're advertising this as though this is beautiful. That this is going.
I'm sorry about this. Queen.
This isn't a brochure. Okay.
Sorry, I gotta put you up there, Queen, but I got to show the peoples. Now, I mean, I did share your channel in the beginning. Now, I mean, but I gotta put you up there, Queen, sis, for real. Like-minded people, straight up. She dropped some jewels on this video, straight up. Yeah, sis, do your thing, sis. I'm with you. I'm rocking with you.
Okay, so if this is the part they're telling you, imagine what they're not telling you. You won't get cell phone service, right? You won't be able to have any type of cell service, any type of device at all that will work. Okay, that's tied into that. But then they say telecommunications here, but this is where it gets weird. And I got to look over here because I have two screens, guys. But this is, and I think this should be called something else, but it's let me make it bigger. It's going to get a little weird on your screen, but I want to read it. It says, it's to monitor devices and sensors transmitting data such as energy usage, air quality, and traffic congestion. So if you're contributing to any of that, guess what? Guess what? You're in violation. You're in violation. You can lose your digital ID, but they're also going to track it. Now take a listen to this. Take a listen to this. And again, the United States is in lockstep. The United States is part of this. There is no exception, and none of our politicians are speaking about it. They have this all quietly swept, underneath the carpet while we fight about all this other stuff that they know will not make a difference. They know it will have no difference. What did Elon Musk say? With his lawsuit between him and Sam Altman with ChatGPT, they asked him about this last year. Remember that conference where he was cussing out Bob Iger for not and saying that Disney was not going to advertise on X, and he was like, "F you, Bob Iger." Well, in that same conference, that same one which people didn't pay attention to, Elon Musk called AI like we're summoning a demon. We're summoning the demons with AI. And he was serious. There's no laughter. This isn't a joke. He's serious. We're summoning the demons with AI. We are creating digital God. And that he said by the time that lawsuit between him and Sam Altman, before it's settled, not even that it goes to trial, before it's settled, we will have digital God. Guys, when I tell you, it's bad.
Why? Because in order to open an account, you need to have an ID.
Right.
And I have to say that when I started this job, there were actually very little countries in Africa or Latin America that had one ubiquitous type of ID. And certainly...
They went down in Africa, experimented on who? Niggas!
that it was digital. And certainly it was biometric. And we've really worked with all our partners to actually help that being... to grow this. And the interesting part of it is that, yes, it is very necessary for financial services, but not only. So, it's also good for school enrollment, it's also good for health, who actually got a vaccination or not. It's very good to get your subsidies, from the government. So this has not only effect to the financial services. It's a very...
See, she threw that vax in there from the government. The same motherfuckers that's gonna have them niggas out there soul line dancing for you to take another experiment and take the mark of the beast and sell your soul like you already did. That's why y'all losing your mind out this motherfucker. Facts. Niggas gonna be out that motherfucker selling niggas out again like the black doctors, right? Right.
Important issue.
Did you hear the vaccine part? Did you hear the vaccine part? Well,
Yep.
let's let the good brother, well, not the good brother, but we're going to say the good brother Tony Blair. Brother, well, not the good brother, but we're going to say the good brother Tony Blair, who interviewed Larry Ellison at the WEF, World Economic Forum, which I did on live stream.
With that background I was telling y'all about, pay attention to it, y'all. These motherfuckers in the bed making decisions behind y'all back. And your local politicians ain't telling y'all because they got y'all distracted with this Donald Trump hate campaign. That's crazy. They got y'all distracted with so much hate going on out here. The Donald Trump hate campaign, the No Kings rally. What else they had going on? The LGBTQ movement, SpongeBob Squidward movement. It's a whole lot of distractions going on because why? They don't want y'all to know about this here, about the mark of the beast that's in your scriptures. God damn it. And look, they all talking about that shit. Just like they did what? The Experiment 19. They all talked about it before they rolled it out on the peoples. And like I said, that Jab 19 was a test run. This the big show right here. To take that mark of the beast. And a lot of you niggas was sold out by your own peoples.
I'm going to have to do a separate video. It's wild. Wild. Okay? Larry Ellison, who owns Paramount, pretty much all of entertainment media.
So y'all make sure y'all get over there and sub to Melon King channel. I'm going to put it up after this video ends. I'm going to post her video again. Get over there and sub to her channel. God damn it.
At this point, and wild, okay? Larry Ellison, who owns Paramount, pretty much all of entertainment media at this point, and is part of Trump's new AI department and division. And as part of this whole thing that they're doing with the, not only with digital ID and the vaccines they have planned coming out, but also, guys, we talk about Stargate.
Hear that? More vaccines coming, ladies and gentlemen. More vaccines coming.
If you're not getting it by now, you need to. But listen to...
No, if they not getting the lesson, they won't get the lesson because the lesson been there. These niggas just ignorant, sis. They don't do no research. They listen to what Mr. Charlie tell them to do. And Mr. Charlie, he put the batteries in the mother house niggas back and had them go out there and sell the rest of the plantation slaves out. You see, all their experiments is on African Americans. You understand me? Facts. This shit was it's a whole lot of people involved. As you see, the world economic forum. God damn it, the world, not the city, not the state, the world. They be having these discussions behind our backs, peoples. It's for us to, you understand me? Revoke that shit. Fuck that. Fuck it. It's the end of the world, y'all. It's the end of the world.
And this was from December of 2023. So when I tell you, like, I have to dig through the archives, go back, because we need to see what's going to happen now. It's terrifying.
I also think this issue to do with the technology and the digital infrastructure, I just want to emphasize how important I think that is. Because in the end, you need the data, You need to know who's been vaccinated and who hasn't been. Some of the vaccines that will come on down the line will be multiple. There'll be multiple shots. So you've got to have, for reasons to do with the healthcare more generally, but certainly for a pandemic or for vaccines, you've got to have a proper digital infrastructure. And many countries don't have that. In fact, most countries don't have that. So you've got to have, for reasons to do with the healthcare more generally, but certainly for a pandemic or for that. So you've got to have, for reasons to do with the healthcare more generally, but certainly for a pandemic or for vaccines, you've got to have a proper digital infrastructure. And many countries don't have that. In fact, most countries don't have that. I also think...
Wait. Did you notice? Did you hear what he said about the multiple vaccinations they have coming up?
Mm-hmm.
Then he accidentally says pandemic, and then he's like, I didn't mean to let the cat out the bag, but we're going to watch it real quick again, and I want you to really take notice of that.
This issue to do with the technology and the digital infrastructure, I just want to emphasize how important I think that is. Because in the end, you need the data. You need to know who's been vaccinated and who hasn't been. Some of the vaccines that will come on down the line will be multiple. There'll be multiple shots. So you've got to have, for reasons to do with the healthcare more generally, but certainly for a pandemic or...
Are not swabbing fingers.
These are swabbing fingers.
Patients coming in and they see the nurses smiling and they see the nurses happy, it makes them feel better. And if the patients are able to laugh and experience some joy from being at our testing site, I highly encourage that.
Wow. Spreading the good. Spread the good. Yeah, right. Test us that they're going to be doing more.
Our initial reaction to being tasked with staffing the drive-through testing site was almost surreal. The conditions for the nurses on a day-to-day is very non-traditional. You're dealing with the elements. You're out there in the rain. There's been a lot of rain the past 5 weeks because we're seeing upwards to over 100 to almost 200 patients a day sometimes. People are very fearful when they come to get tested. But the staff do a really good job at relieving their anxiety, relieving their stress. Testing is staffed by the pool nurses of Jefferson. Pool nurses typically fill in staffing gaps in the hospital, so they go to areas where there is needed, where they're short a nurse. So it's kind of this ironic paradox that these nurses who don't typically work together, in a time when people are asked to kind of stay socially isolated or socially distant, they were brought together to work as a team for the first time.
Surprised by the lack of response so far in the black and brown neighborhoods.
I'm disappointed. I didn't want to be. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. I didn't want to be a part of another meeting. I wanted to go out and do something.
And Dr. Ayla Stanford has been busy since. More than 2 weeks ago, she stepped up to provide coronavirus testing for Philly's predominantly black neighborhoods.
Listen, y'all, listen.
Being a physician scientist, I know that if you want to move the needle and affect change in those communities, you have to go where people are.
Now this Philly native is making national headlines, forming the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium, working in a city where the virus's death rate is 54% among African Americans. We've seen them test at local churches like Enon Tabernacle Baptist, where they help prominent pastor Alan Wall learn he was positive.
Listen to these lying-ass niggas that did no research on the experiment, y'all. They did no research. These niggas had batteries put in their back and they had strings attached to their bodies. These niggas are puppets, sellouts, and they need to be held accountable. The days we living in. We got to hold these people accountable, y'all. These motherfuckers sold y'all out. And we're going to get into another video after this one that's shell-shocking.
By the guidelines of exposed or symptoms, I would not have been tested.
Dr. Stanford's movement started with a few...
When you got tested, they put the fucking experiment in you with that long-ass Q-tip that went down there up to your brain. Do you know what was on the end of that Q-tip? Do you know what was on the edge of that Q-tip that they stuck up in your nose down there to your brain? They infected you with the fucking experiment.
A few phone calls to friends and her own money. When you were at these churches and you see the lines wrapped around the church,
Stupid.
you speak to
Look at
someone and they say,
Hypocrite.
thank
Devil.
you. What does that mean to you?
It warms my heart.
As of Monday, the consortium has raised $100,000, money that provides for more tests. What do you need from the city of Philadelphia? What do you need from the state of Pennsylvania?
Support.
The consortium will be
Wow.
in South Philly Tuesday. Dr. Stanford says they'll continue working until the cases and deaths fall and the hospitals are no longer in crisis mode. Brandon Hudson.
Mr. Sirius kind of covered the 154 million, which was the first time I heard that. And again, I would call that propaganda. It's not science. I mean, somebody's got some model, fine. I mean, I can play with numbers too. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you how you can use numbers. Dr. Scott, you talked about the Commonwealth estimate of 3.2 million lives saved here in the U.S. in 2021 and 2022, correct? You're pretty confident of that one?
It's one of a few studies. Yep, these estimates are not easy to make, but yeah, that's one study.
Define study. I mean, were there confidence intervals around that 3.2 million?
It was a modeling study, yeah. Certainly,
it was published on a blog, wasn't it? Is that correct, Mr. Siri?
Yeah, it's a blog.
That study was covered on a.
Yeah, the Commonwealth quote-unquote study is not a study, it's a blog. It's not a peer-reviewed study, it's not in a journal, it was published.
So let's put up this little chart that I'm somewhat famous for charts. So let's look at real data. So this is CDC data. So in 2019, total deaths in the U.S. were 2.85 million. Okay, then we had the pandemic year, 2020, 3.38 million, a little under 3.4 million. So that's an increase of a little more than 500,000 people died in the first year of COVID. The following year, 3.46 million people, more people in the second year of the pandemic, 2021. When the vaccines were rolling out, I think we were close to 70% take up of vaccines by fall of 2021, I believe.
Some of the estimates are that by the second quarter, over 60% of Americans had some form of
immunity. Then in 2022, we started backing down. Now, I think Mr. Siri kind of argues in your piece that, the vaccines really worked. You'd think even by 2021, because those things are being rolled out pretty quick, you'd probably see those death counts come down, but they didn't. But here's the point I'm trying to make with this Commonwealth Fund study. They estimated 3.2 million people's lives were saved in 2021 and 2022. So if you add that to the actual death count, what Commonwealth Fund is assuming is that in 2021, had it not been for the vaccines, more than 5 million people would have lost their lives in America. In 2022, 4.88 million people would have lost their lives. I mean, Dr. Scott, is that even close to credible to think that we'd go from 2.85 million lives lost in 2019, have a pandemic, no vaccines, unfortunately the NIH was sabotaging treatment using effective generic drugs, to telling people, don't treat at all, go home, be afraid, hope you don't have to go in the hospital where they'll plug remdesivir in your veins and hook you up to a ventilator and you probably never come off. Okay? So we had no treatment, had 3.38 million people die that year. Are we really supposed to believe the next year we were going to leap up to 5 million lives lost in America? And then the following year, close to 5 again? Because that's what you'd have to be in order to save 1.6 million lives in 2021 and 2022. Assuming the death rate was going to go from 2.85 million in 2019, 3.4 million in 2019, and then leap up to 5 million in 2021 and 22. Is that at all plausible? Do you believe that? Do you believe that we were literally, had it not been for vaccine, 5 million Americans would have lost their lives in 2021 and 2022?
If you need full
Yeah, I believe that's credible to me. I mean, were you on the front lines? Because it was awful. I honestly cannot express how terrible it was.
It was terrible.
And there was a dramatic decline.
It was terrible in 2020. And the total death
dramatic
toll is
decline in
3.4
death
million.
rates after the vaccines were rolled out.
Well,
Dramatic.
Let's move on. Let's move on to some other.
Parse over these modeling studies, but let's talk about hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin. I mean, there were a number of studies that looked into that.
This is
some of which I was involved in.
This is about research. By the way, I'm happy to invite you back when I'll have Dr. McCulloch and I have Dr. Good. We'll do that. Okay, we will absolutely have you come back.
Thank you.
And we'll talk about hospital protocols. We'll talk about early treatment. I would love to do that because I've never been able to get people to actually debate or discuss this with that the doctors did have the courage and compassion to treat COVID, okay? And I appreciate you did as well. So anyway, so you think it's credible. I mean, the records show that Dr. Scott thinks, yeah, we had 5 million people die in 2021 and 2022. Mr. Siri, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I could add to that just a little bit, which is that, and this is part of my submission as well, that the data reflects that in 2020, when there was no vaccine, the vaccine was first rolled out at the end of December 2020, about 18% of folks, 17% of Americans were infected.
Right.
And presumably...
Affected. Y'all hear that? They was affected. How did you get infected? You gave them the fucking experiment, you fucking idiot.
By the way, the weakest, most frail among us passed away in 2020. Then we get to 2021, where again the data reflects, and this is my submission, around the same percentage of Americans were again infected.
It's getting infected.
So no vaccine, like you pointed out, that was the increase. Then there was a vaccine in 2021, the vaccination rate went through sky high by the second quarter of 2021. When Delta's coming, the immunity rate, according to the data, is over 60%. But yet, all-cause mortality increases. And I'll point out one last thing about this. Remdesivir.
Yeah, I want to add to this debate. So I watched every single meeting of the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices and the Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee in 2021, 2022, and 2023, when all these COVID shots were being authorized for use in this country. And after a while, the CDC's own research showed that the protection from the vaccine, if any, was between months 2 and 6. And by 6 months, it showed negative efficacy. So I'm watching the hearings on my, computer screen at home. I'm yelling at the screen. The COVID shots have negative efficacy after 6 months. Tell me how a shot with negative efficacy is saving lives, and it has the worst side effect profile of any vaccine in human history. So how exactly is a vaccine with the worst side effects and negative efficacy saving lives? That's a preposterous claim. What ended the COVID pandemic was the Omicron variant that was more transmissible but less lethal. The vaccine, how many people it helped? I think it's an open debate. It could be a net negative.
Multiple shots for vaccinations. What adults don't need all these vaccinations. So then he goes on to clarify for our vaccinations for what again, class? What was that?
For vaccines, you need for a pandemic or for vaccines.
Did you? It kind of looks like a turtle. Oh, didn't mean to say that. Oh, didn't mean to say that. Didn't mean to say that, but look at this. Remember I told you. Okay? Sorry, and it's not social currency. It's social credit score. You'll be given a social credit score. But these are Chinese children lining up for the latest state-mandated vaccination with a QR code which will update their own personal vaccine passport. Yes, this actually happens in China, coming to Europe near you, but it's coming to the U.S. And it's all, they're rushing, guys. They're rushing, spending trillions of dollars on this. All of a sudden, we have NASA lying about 3I Atlas. I mean, even scientists and astronomers who don't believe in the Bible or are Christians or anything, they even are clowning them and saying that we cannot believe anything NASA says. They're lying to us. They've gaslit us. This was the final straw for them saying 3I Atlas was a normal comet. But look at these kids. Let me turn off this music because it's going to get hit. But look. Because the kids don't have phones, but this goes back into the parents thing, and it keeps a score for when they become adults so that they can, know that they got their vaccinations. But this is part of the WEF's plan. This is what they're implementing globally and in the U.S. But let me show you this other thing. I have so much to show you, but we're just...
I tried to cram a whole lot into this video. Going from the mark of the beast to that experiment, but it all ties into one about can't trust this devil out here with them vaccines, ladies and gentlemen. And let me share this channel. Hold on. Here's the channel here once again, y'all. Go over there and sub the Melon King channel, y'all. Sis be dropping jewels. And she just dropped something 9 hours ago. Every American must become Muslim or die. That's going on in other places. I seen that. I ain't gonna even give y'all none of that. Just going over there and sub to her channel and get some of this good content. As y'all can see, I'm sub. Got my bell and shit on ring. What a good sis. It's good sis here, man. Just be dropping jewels. I like your live screens too, Melon King. I'll be up in the chat under SBI 247. Alright? SBI 247. Look out for that in your chat whenever you go live. Peace.